Ho, 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 back again. Time for some more Type 40, an extra helping of Type 40 here for you on the Spacebook channel. With me, Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. What's all this about then? Well, it's an after show, before show, and an in-between show to all the Type 40 and Type 40 live content that we put out with the Fandom Podcast Network and here for you on the Spacebook channel too. Lots of content and conversation from throughout all of time and space with myself and whoever I pull into the TARDIS this time, even though it's snowbound. I've managed to grab somebody. Yeah, she's here. It's starry-eyed girl Sarah Graham. Well, snowy-eyed girl. Snowy-eyed girl.
I've gone festive. Even though the snow is gone for the moment, but I'm keeping it. It's Christmas.
For the time being. Of course, these smaller shows, they're ideal, aren't they, Sarah, for when the BBC or Bad Wolf or whoever else, when they decide to show us something or say something at the most inconvenient and unexpected
we said this, didn't we, on a Christmas party end of season show, that something was going to happen while we were off, and here we are.
Yeah, we certainly are. Now, we were, in all truth, we were waiting for this one. It is a big one. It's the next piece of the puzzle. And firstly, I want to thank everybody who's been getting in touch with the show since the Type 40 Live Big Christmas Party. Lots of comments, lots of thank yous, lots of likes, more subscribers. Keep that coming, please. Yeah, please like the videos. Like this video now. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and hit the cluster bell to get all the notifications about what's coming next, whatever we're talking about on the podcasts or the live streams. But yeah, I've had lots of messages about this because I've been ill since the Type 40 Live Christmas Party.
Yes, sure.
I was ill. I think people could probably tell. I was ill when we were recording that. But afterwards, I mean, it just completely got to me. And so for 4 days solid, I was barely able to look at the screen of my smartphone. But I did see this story break. I was there, and people, as they do, I bet you've had the same, haven't you, Sarah? People messaging and tweeting.
Yeah,
what do you think of it, Sarah?
Tweets, phone calls.
Heaven knows what it'd be like if you were actually involved with the damn thing. But yeah, yes, we've been treated, haven't we, to a vision in orange, but it's not that one. That was something else that hovered into view on Saturday, the 17th of December, at around 6:30, I think 6:30, 6:45, something like that. We had our first official look at the 15th Doctor, as played by Ncuti Gatwa. We're going to see them on screen as from 2024 in season 14 of Doctor Who. But of course, they don't make this thing in a bubble. They try to.
They do indeed.
But they don't make it in a bubble. Sooner or later, they've got to go out and about, haven't they, Sarah, doing location filming. And so they know we're gonna see them sooner rather than later. And that's how and why we finally get to see Ncuti in his costume. So the crew were out filming in a place called Cardiff Bay Barrage in Penarth on both Friday and Saturday night. But Ncuti and Millie, they were there on the Saturday in costume, there for recording. I mean, some fans were there, so they knew what was going to happen. And so we get this very first picture of Ncuti. Ncuti is a 30-year-old Scottish stroke Rwandan actor. People say this and say that, but yeah, I call him a Scot myself. And he was cast in the role last May. And because it's fair to say, Sarah, he's a bit of a clothes horse, there's been so much speculation, hasn't there, about what the hell was this guy going to wear?
Well, yeah, because he always looks amazing, and he likes the limelight. He's very confident, and he should be, because he looks absolutely good. He can wear things nobody else. He seems to be very allergic to shirts as well.
Well, this is it. I mean, I said there is. It's a standing joke in the community, Gary. If you're watching, this man's nipples, they seem to they need the sunlight. But in truth, he does seem to be the kind of guy who can wear just about anything. And obviously, he's in the prime of his life, at the height of his powers, just coming off the back of this big show, Sex Education, which I think they've finished that now, haven't they?
Yeah, that was filming season 4, and I think that's why they had to wait so he could finish this commitment. But I mean, I know that, the character he played in Sex Education, Eric, he was a very eccentric, flamboyant character, which again, you know, it pulled off magnificently. But I think there was a bit of trepidation about, you know, how far is it going to go. I mean, we know the Doctor is eccentric, but are we going to end up with an Eric special, you know? But no, I'm very pleasantly surprised.
It's one thing to be eccentric, isn't it? You know, they've all been eccentric to some degree or another, to varying degrees of success. They've all had a look, and they've all been, I think, for better or for worse, doctors for their times. And whilst Ncuti Gatwa wasn't an actor that I'd never heard the name, I'd seen the face because I'd seen posters for Sex Education, but I'd quite understandably, I just scrolled past them on social media because it doesn't seem to be a show that was aimed at me. But I'm very excited by this actor. And yeah, when I saw what he's going to be wearing here in this first picture, I have to say, Sarah, and sorry everybody out there, but I've been waiting for them to disappoint me. And so I just heaved a massive sigh of relief because when I saw this image, I thought, there he is. Thank heaven, because that is the Doctor.
Yeah, the Doctor's back. And you know, and not just because it's a man. The look, you know, sensible yet striking is what I'm going to go for, because you need, yes, because I mean, there's been a bit of you know, chatter on Twitter and everything, where, you know, well, the Doctor's meant to stand out. Well, yeah, to some extent, but he's also got to be able to blend in. That is one of his characteristics.
It's what they call a sweet spot, isn't it? Not Ncuti himself, but that place in the character, that's the sweet spot.
Yeah, and you know, he's got to be able to blend in, you know, with modern day Earth and wherever else to go. But obviously, he's got to be a little bit removed so you can notice him. I mean, to bring
I remember Sylvester McCoy described it with his Doctor, is that he wanted his persona, his representation of the character, to be somebody who, from a distance, you would think he was just a normal guy passing in a crowd, and then you get closer and closer, and you'd realise that he stood out, that he didn't belong. Not just through what he was wearing, but through how he was behaving, maybe the things that he was looking at and the way that he was relating to the world around him. Because that's the persona of the Doctor, isn't it? And I think that's what we get, because this is him in character. He's doing that thing that they do. You know, he's staring into the middle distance. Yeah. He's not doing the Peter Capaldi sort of hand acting. His hands are firmly in their pockets, which is more of a David Tennant, Peter Davison thing, isn't it? But it's the Doctorishness. So what were you going to say then? Sorry about Miss Whittaker.
I was going to bring up Jodie Whittaker just because the costume she wore, which I absolutely hated. I know a lot of people hate it. It was almost being defended in a way, like, well, at least what she wore made her stand out. But yeah, but she looked an absolute prat, and yes, she did stand out, but it was for all the wrong reasons. But she didn't use that. It's funny that, you know, the bright colours she had, and yet in many other scenes, she simply faded away into the background because she didn't have the presence of, say, like Colin Baker to really, you know, them colours.
Well, Whittaker viewed it as a uniform. She viewed it in the same way that somebody would, as if she was playing a superhero. So the costume was the thing. And the emblem on the chest. She never understood the character at all. Whereas here, I'm already getting the impression. And yeah, I'm not going to lay it on too thick, everybody. You think I'm wearing rose-tinted glasses or whatever. It is just a couple of pictures. But this is an actor. This is an actor lowering himself into the part, finding the character, and the actual. I mean, I can't claim to be an expert in high fashion. Some of the things I've seen Ncuti wearing have startled me. You know, this guy, he goes out in public dressed. However, he doesn't seem to have any shame at all, and fair play to him. But so a lot of the things that I've seen him wear, I think, good God, you know, I hope that there's going to be none of that in the Doctor, and there isn't. What we've got, I think, is something generally pretty sensible, just like, as I said about McCoy, where this man could pass in a crowd. He could be standing in front of you or behind you in a cash point, in the queue for a cash point, and you wouldn't give him a second glance.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's sensible get up. I love the 3/4 length coat. Sensible shoes, for running up corridors, because it is important. And I just love it. I just love the plaid. It makes you think of Troughton.
Me too. Troughton's trousers.
Troughton's trousers. I mean, somebody likened it. I can't remember where on Twitter, but somebody likened it to Rupert Bear. Because if they'd have been yellow, they would have been Rupert Bear. Like, that's brilliant. Another classic British. It feels very, almost, like that Burberry stuff. It's very British, very fashionable.
That was back in a few years ago, wasn't it? I mean, around the time that everybody's eyebrows went really thick.
Yeah.
Burberry was back. Yeah. I know I mentioned that a lot, but I'm still experiencing trauma from that.
I did. As a woman, I don't even understand it. I don't know why you wanted to have slugs on your eyebrows, but fair enough.
It was as if we were being invaded by somebody. But we do like to try and predict what the new doctors are going to be wearing. And in this instance, I'll be honest, I didn't get a great deal right. But the one thing I did get right was the 3/4 length coat. I knew it would be longer than, for example, a blazer that Matt Smith wore, but I couldn't see it being a David Tennant style coat down to your feet.
Well, he's not. Ncuti isn't as tall as David, so I wasn't expecting a full length coat. I was expecting short or 3/4. But I really was hoping for a suit. I just think that it just works so well. I think there's just something automatically, smart and professional and kind of like authoritative that just comes with a suit. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe that's a terrible patriarchal thing to say. I don't know.
The shoes are rather, I don't know if they are Dr. Martens, but they're rather Capaldi, aren't they?
Yes. Definitely like the shoes. But again, the simple and striking, and the plainness of the t-shirt. I mean, that can be changed up and switched about.
This is the thing, and this is the beauty of it. One of the reasons why I wasn't expecting the plaid was because David Tennant is wearing it as the 14th Doctor. So I completely discounted that, thinking that they would do something completely different. There'd be a great contrast. Obviously, they haven't done that. This is plaid too, but it's a contrast in every other way, isn't it? Obviously, Tennant's back in the Converse, and whilst I wouldn't describe Tennant's outfit as loose, because he's a very slim and trim man, when you've got the big bellowing coat and the trouser legs, the suit, it's not as fitted as Ncuti's look here, is it?
No. And again, I think that's a good thing. I'm guessing that was a deliberate style choice. Maybe added comfort for Tennant. I don't know. But yeah,
it's so simple. I mean, I did the other thing that I predicted, which I didn't mention to anybody, was I saw an image of Ncuti at the Virgin Media Awards not that long ago, and I thought how comfortable he looked in this. I think it's a suit, or certainly a jacket with a belt.
Yes.
And I thought that was a really nice look. He's wearing a shirt there with a collar. So I thought
very pertwee there.
Yeah, I suppose he does. Yeah, I thought that shirt-wise he would go with a turtleneck sweater, because I just think they look really smart, and I think it suits his sort of neckline and all the rest of it. And no doctor's done that yet. I think it's long overdue that somebody wears a turtleneck. But so I managed to get the 3/4 length jacket and the belt, because I do notice that there is a belt attached to this new coat there, either side. I'm sure he'll be doing that up and down now and again. But if you notice, Sarah, he's also wearing, in this picture, he's wearing the necklace too, which seems to be the same necklace that he's wearing as the Doctor when we see that up close. I'd not noticed that before.
I noticed it was a necklace. But again, yeah, like, he's not the first. He's not the first
Doctor to accessorise.
No, and obviously we've had the TARDIS key. I think it looks really good. It looks in keeping with this kind of like modern look. But it wouldn't take much to embellish that and maybe have some Gallifreyan on, like what they did with Capaldi's wedding ring. They just added that bit, didn't they, to make it look a bit more alien. And I also know he has got rings.
Yeah.
As well.
We're going to look at a video in a moment that they released shortly after this. But initially, I really didn't like the chain. I don't know if it's 2 chains or 1, because the one pendant does seem to match the one that he's wearing in the shot at the awards ceremony. So I had wondered if that was his own or just something that he likes, the kind of style he likes to wear. Like Peter Capaldi used to wear his wedding ring. Do you remember? But he had it adapted, didn't he? So something slotted over his wedding ring with an extra detail on it, so he could still wear the ring, but it wouldn't look out of place. So I've wondered, is that something that Ncuti's done here? And maybe the extra ornament represents something else that we could see as part of the show. I don't know. I'm not so keen on that at the moment, but I feel that I can't reject it because, as you said, other doctors have worn watches, rings, pendants, and that kind of thing. Pertwee's doctor wore bracelets, didn't he?
Absolutely. Tell you one thing, talking about accessories, Dan, one thing that I did get right, he's kept the tash, and I'm so happy about that.
Well, I was pretty indifferent to that. I think he looks, even though he's 30 years old, he does look younger. And I think the tash makes him look a little older. And also, I've always felt it was, never mind ethnicity and all that kind of thing. I've always felt it a little strange that we haven't had a doctor with facial hair before. With 14 men that have played it. You could say that John Hurt had got the go, but he's only on it 20 minutes on screen. It's different, isn't it? It's different because most men do sport facial hair at some point. They play with it, so why wouldn't the doctor? And I think it adds something. It gives him a more classic romantic hero look. Is that pushing it too far?
No, I don't. Because it automatically makes you think of something like Clark Gable.
Yeah, have you seen the film Casablanca from I think that's from the late 30s, something like that? That's kind of what this reminds me of. And in fact, this whole image, Sarah, of him stood on that, I don't know what he stood on. It looks to be like the roof or a car park of some building somewhere. But this does look classically heroic. And when I saw this image initially, not only did I get that sense of relief, but I got the same feeling that I got when I saw the very first picture of David Tennant in his outfit, which was also taken on the car park.
It was, it was a very kind of like urban.
That's you're right. And I just think it just fits right. But when I looked closer, I thought, okay, well, what are the details? What is it meant to be saying? What's it a call back to? Because it does look a little bit to me like it's somebody from classic Hollywood. Have you ever seen that film Dick Tracy with Warren Beatty, where they're all in colourful suits and things like that? It's all sharp lines. And when there are patterns in it, they're very, very bold. And so when he's got a coat and trousers that are matching, it just reminds me of that kind of world. It's only when you look a little bit closer that you see, no, it is more 21st century and closer to high fashion, which I suspect could be the angle, it being so modern. I think that could be what puts some people off. I think some people are going to have a very different response to this. In fact, some people who work on Type 40, I already know, have had a very different response. We'll no doubt be having that conversation at some point in the future, won't we, Ian? But my take is that there is the silhouette of this is right, and it does speak to something from the past.
It does, like you were saying about the Dick Tracy kind of aesthetic. I still think it'd look great in a hat. I think he could pull a hat off. I'd really like to see that, but and even a scarf. You could put anything with that outfit, and I think that's the beauty of it.
It feels like a silhouette, and it feels a little bit like a blank canvas. I'm certain that this silhouette and this look and this attitude will be what remains. So for anybody out there who doesn't like the orange, doesn't like the brown, I've no doubt that there will be, just as David Tennant had a blue suit and had a brown suit, there will be variations of this. This
Yeah.
will be a wardrobe rather than a costume. That's just instinct. I've got the only real reason I've got to believe that is, no, I've got no proof at all. It's simply because it's Russell T Davies, and that was his approach to the character before.
And I think that's the way to take it, that it is a wardrobe and not a costume. I think seeing it as a costume, again, it leads you into that superhero thing. You know, the pitfall that Jodie got into where, you know, she didn't embody it. She didn't embody it fully. It was just a costume or something, you know, you just take off at the end of the day. Like, no, it's part of the Doctor. It's your, you know, it's the actor's mark. It's the actor's personality. And from that, I can see that. And maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but hey, I'm a geek, you know. I can
You're
see him
entitled to geek out about these things.
I can see him being very bright, very chipper, because obviously we've seen he's got an amazing laugh, and they'd be fools not to use that. But I can see him being stern when he needs to be. I can see him, you know, being really kind of maybe not brooding as such, not like the Eccleston and Tennant brooding, but I can see there being times where he's going to be able to do that seriousness and take it seriously, whereas, you know, not taking orders from somebody who looks like a clown.
Yes, it's a lot easier to sell, and this is the figure of a classic hero, and a hero hopefully for a new generation of fans too. We haven't got to forget that this will be somebody, particularly as it's going to be such a long break too, is that this is going to be plenty of people's. Hopefully, if they time it right, if they get the tone right, this is going to be plenty of people's first proper Doctor, and he'll be bringing people into the show as it gets this. Well, it's not even a second wind; it's a third wind, isn't it? We've got a video here that they put out of Ncuti and Millie Gibson mucking around here on the car park, and what you said about his personality and that laugh is more than evident here. Check it out.
Is everyone ready? Is the world ready? Because I'm about.
So there's nothing Hollywood about this, is there, Sarah? There's nothing arty, like out in a forest somewhere.
Get ready. Here she is. Go on.
Millie Gibson playing to the camera.
Yeah.
She's like a
there'll be a lot of
sunshine.
happy people watching her pose.
She said, Ruby's so cute. Look at that.
Oh, do you think they picked the van especially?
Yeah, that's what she said. You match the van.
Oh.
Look how comfortable he is, isn't it? Look, he can move so easily, and they're the rings there. There's 2 on that finger, 3 on the other.
He's got something on his nails as well.
Well, apparently on his nails, he's got something etched onto them, but I don't know whether that's just a fashion thing or whether it's sort of pages of his script that he wanted to remember. So I don't know if that's part of the character.
Yeah,
it seems like going too deeply.
TARDIS instructions.
Could be. So we've got a press release with this too, and it said Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor Who costume for the series 14th season has been revealed, and it ushers in a new era for the Time Lord. We have 2 initial images of Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor wearing a brown and black checkered suit with an orange jumper underneath, brown shoes and a necklace. And in one of the images, this image, he's joined by new companion Ruby Sunday, played by Millie Gibson, in a denim jacket and blue shorts. Again, it looks designed, but it looks like things that people would actually wear. I see young people wearing what Millie's wearing there all the time around the town at the shopping precincts and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a common sight because I know Gary Akers, Retrodoc, he contacted me and he was asking, and he said, you know, is that a common thing for girls to wear? I said, yeah, it's especially around Fresher Week at the universities. But again, it looks modern, but also timeless. I've mentioned before that I was getting kind of like Joe Grant vibes.
Yeah,
from Ruby Sunday. And
yeah.
even this outfit, it does feel very 70s.
I suppose it does. Yeah, it's the denim, isn't it?
Mm. And again, with the brown and orange, could the first episode, not be set present day? Maybe it is set in the 70s. That would be an exciting thought.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain she's going to be from 2022.
It's just wishful thinking on me, but
I know what you mean. I mean, it's nice to see them so relaxed together. It's nice to see them getting down to work together like that and enjoying it. And and sort of inviting us into their world, really, to see them working together and having fun. I genuinely think it's going to be all right with these two there. I do. I mean, I looked at the costume and the shot, of them both there together, and it does remind me of when I saw Chris Eccleston and Billie Piper together for the first time. It could be. I mean, again, these are only pieces to a puzzle. The proof of the pudding is got pudding on the brain instead of Christmas.
it is.
But the proof of the pudding will be in the eating. We've still got a long way to go, I know. But with every piece of this puzzle that slots into place, Sarah, I just feel more and more relieved. The new logo was, oh, thank God. The new costume, oh, thank God.
It does, because it just, we've been on tenterhooks. That knot of dread you get in your stomach, and I think during every announcement, it's slowly getting like looser and looser. And it's the point where you didn't realise you were that tense, but obviously, like the past few years, we've become,
heightened.
Heightened.
The scar tissue is still quite tender. The element of the costume that some people simply don't like is the jumper. Because orange is a strong colour, isn't it? It is. It's. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Whereas I think there's some colours that people kind of sort of all right, but orange, whether you can wear it or not, whether you like it or not, and that does seem to be the element of the costume that has divided opinion. But again, I like it. I've always liked doctors in that kind of outfit. I think Capaldi wore it particularly well with that sort of one that he got with the holes in it. And bear in mind that he started out, didn't he, Capaldi, with the top button done up, really buttoned up, didn't he? And his character sort of gradually softened, and the look changed too. Whereas Eccleston, again though, when I saw that picture of Ncuti first, I thought this is a cross between Tennant and Chris Eccleston. Because he changed his pullovers most episodes, didn't he?
He did, yeah. And again, it worked for that story. I think as the stories got more serious, I think towards the finale, I think he had the black jumper. I mean, the criticisms I've had has been that it's boring.
Really?
But I disagree.
Yeah.
It's maybe simple, yes.
Yeah.
But you could argue that Eccleston's outfit was boring. It was the most kind of muted, but it suited his grittiness. And
stripped back performance, stripped back look.
Yeah. But again, I would think out of everything, it's possibly the orange that's more Ncuti's personality.
Yeah.
That's just my hunch. But again, it wouldn't take, he could change that. And any colour's going to suit that jacket and trousers. So yeah, I don't really like it.
I'm going to say, generally speaking, I'm very, very upbeat about this. I think it's a great starting point. I think it's a perfect silhouette for reimagining this character for 2023, but it'll be for 2024, for giving it a fresh start for all new Doctor Who. I still don't think people quite get it out there on both sides of the aisle. This is the third iteration of Doctor Who. This is, for all intents, a new start again. That's how they're treating it at Bad Wolf. They've actually said so. Employees have said so. That's how they're treating the whole project. But people have mentioned to me about the costume, and surely you can't be completely sold on it. Well, of course not. But it is just a starting point. I mean, if I have got reservations, it's because the thing that I don't see in Ncuti's look is contrast. It, as I say, does look very modern. It does look very strong. But for example, we look at Chris Eccleston there, and he's wearing a U-boat captain's jacket. Basically, it's a vintage leather jacket left over from the Second World War. But he's dressed like the bass player in a dad rock band. It's the contrast, firmly somebody from maybe from the 70s or something. Peter Capaldi's another example there. You've got the kind of mod father look that he had, but he was a mod father, like a Paul Weller type character, crossed with a wizard.
Especially with the cuffs and the hair that kept getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I think that's who he was. With Matt Smith, you got the public school boy crossed with Peter Pan. David Tennant, he was part detective, part supply teacher. That is, for me, that's again another Doctor Who sweet spot that ideally the character should be hitting, and I'm not seeing that with Ncuti yet. And whilst it wasn't an instant disappointment, it was only when I looked at the finer details of it that I thought, there's no contrast there. But there's time, isn't there? There's plenty of time. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing. Maybe there's somewhere deeper to go with this. Maybe it'll just come from the characterization. And you know what? It's such a relief to have potentially the right actor back in this role at the right time that I'm prepared to place that faith, Sarah. Do you see what I'm saying? That's not being complacent of me, is it?
No, I don't think so. It's you've still got your reservations, but you've got, it's that being realistic but keeping that optimism. And I don't see why you can't have both. It's a brand new start. Yes, we've been burned, and we've been burned pretty bad, but I believe Ncuti's got the right attitude. He clearly respects, what's come before. You're obviously not old enough to really know much about it, apart from a bit of the modern era. But he's got enough that he respects it. He takes it seriously. He's been saying all the right things.
It doesn't seem like he wants to exclude anybody.
No,
and that he's rejecting anything that's come before, or anybody that could potentially be interested in the show. And that should be a given. That's not a great ask. That's not, that's not something we should be celebrating, because it should be the default setting for anybody who makes anything that's commercial, shouldn't it?
It should, but we live in these, charged times. But yeah, he's been completely open. His personality is lovely. He's charming. That laugh is infectious, and I just think, if you can bring them points into the character, I can see, especially kids and young people, falling absolutely in love with him. I suppose it's the older generation and it's the stalwarts where I think he's got to work harder. But I think he can pull it off, and I think we should give him the chance to pull it off.
I think that I've noticed there's chatter about this already, and when I realised the truth of the matter, I was a little irked by this aspect of it, because as I say, I like this costume, and that's all that matters. Television is a visual medium. The Doctor is a classic character that has to look exactly right. I think if you can see that silhouette, and you can boil it down to 2 or 3 components, the guy with the long scarf and the floppy hat. It's something like the guy in the plaid with the bright coloured jumper. That could be enough. But it was when I dug a little deeper on the jumper, because it's so distinctive. And what I was surprised to find was that this jumper, and this is, I was talking about contrast. Mm-hmm. I think that this is where the contrast could, in the program makers, be coming from. And the one thing that makes me a little fearful, I think if it comes from Ncuti, it's not so bad. But it's been revealed that jumper is actually ladies' wear. It's a woman's jumper that is up to order there. You can buy it for $24.99 through H&M. I'm pretty sure this is the same jumper. There's been several jumpers shared on Twitter. People are speculating, is it this one? Is it that one? But I'm pretty sure it's this one that we're looking at on screen. Now, we did joke about Ncuti obviously being a very flamboyant man, the characters that he's played before, the current social situation as regards gender politics, ideology, Russell T Davies' own stance on the LGBTQ, I can't even say it, the alphabet people, all that stuff. So people were wondering, is he going to drag up? This isn't dragging up. But I think when people realise that he's basically wearing women's clothes, I don't think this is going to go down too well. I don't know if this is news to you out there that I'm breaking.
This is the first I'm hearing about it.
Yeah, this is ladies' wear. There's no getting away from it. I have seen men's jumpers that are orange, but I think when you look closely at Ncuti and the details here around the cuffs, the texture, and if you notice the way it rides up at the midriff, it definitely rides up on Ncuti's midriff too. And I'm pretty certain that is the same jumper, and that it is ladies' wear. If you see this picture of Ncuti there, does seem to be the same one. And the tone of my voice has slightly changed because I'm a little disappointed by this, because I do feel that it pulls the show back into another argument, compromises its place, and politicizes it again to some degree or another, Sarah. That just worries me, because this is a family show. It's for children.
Yeah. No, I can completely see your point and your concerns. We did. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to be subtle. I don't know.
It's definitely subtle, because the way I look at it, Sarah, although that has disappointed me, because you think, oh God, because I had such relief when I saw it, and that's all that really matters. The fact that it didn't sort of make me want to scrub my own eyes, like when I saw Whittaker's ridiculous costume. Yeah. Knowing that they've made a choice was made. Either Ncuti said, "Can I wear ladies? Can I wear a ladies' jumper?" Or somebody has said, "Wouldn't it be funny if?" Wouldn't people, or maybe people could be outraged if you wear this women's clothes, a woman's jumper? I don't know. I suppose we'll see where it goes. As we said, this is a look that's going to evolve. If there's going to be, if it's always going to be a ladies' jumper, if there's always going to be ladies wear there in the mix, what are they saying? What are they pushing? Is it just quirkiness to be quirky? Because the Doctor is a quirky character, and perhaps the Doctor wouldn't think twice. If he liked the feel of something, the look of something, then why shouldn't he wear it, regardless of which section of a department store it comes from? I'm completely on board with that. And I think Ncuti looks striking in it. He looks striking in most things. But it's the fact that it is here and now, and as you said, this is all so heightened and charged. Yeah.
Again, I can't help but kind of go, a bit at that.
It's deflating. It's deflating.
If you hadn't have told me, I wouldn't have been.
I probably wouldn't have. I think it would have. I knew there was something. Unusual about it, but I thought it was just the fact that I don't know anything about fashion. I'm in my late 40s now. So I'm wearing an overshirt, for heaven's sake. I don't know anything about fashion, and he's a 30-year-old guy, and people,
Well, I mean, he looks great in it.
He does.
I mean, we don't know the circumstances of how he gets his outfit. Maybe it is. I mean, I hope it's better than just going to a charity shop, but maybe it is just something he's picked up and he doesn't realise. But I suppose that's me being really naive, isn't it?
I don't think if something looks cool, if it feels cool, if it feels you, then and this is, generally speaking, this is something that I really believe. If something looks good, it feels good, and you enjoy wearing it within reason, unless you're wearing drag and you're teaching at a primary school, but within reason, then you absolutely should wear it. And I do think that is a generally quite a positive statement to be saying, and something that is part of our popular culture. Because I think what I realized was that, if, for example, for a while, one of the people who culturally, I suppose we've had as a touchstone for this kind of thing was the late David Bowie. And he used to dress in this kind of genderless way, or outright in ladies' wear, in ladies' jumpers and trousers and things like that. He used to dress like that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And is David Bowie that bad an example or a blueprint for an incarnation of the Doctor? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Or this sense of style necessarily.
Yeah.
It's no different. That's, you know, after my initial sort of, oh no, he's wearing women's clothes. But well, and David Bowie would absolutely wear that. Would David Bowie have made a great Doctor? Probably.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, again, you know, it's circumstance. We have to ask these questions. We have to be cynical.
Yeah.
Because of what's being pushed. You know, at the time of Bowie, it wasn't an agenda. It was, I like this. This looks cool. It became an icon.
Yeah.
You know, in spite of that, not because of it. Now, these days, it's a completely different scenario. I honestly, I just like to think it's just because he likes it, and not, you know, nothing else is going to be said. I would like the Doctor to go back to just being, you know, we don't care about things like gender. It's so far underneath everything. I'm thinking of the universe and time and space and life and death.
Yeah.
I haven't got time to talk, you know.
The difference, I think, is, Sarah, that Bowie pioneered that kind of androgynous look in a subversive, sort of strange, slightly uncanny way in a Britain, you know, because he's a British man. Mm-hmm. Not that long after the Second World War, after rationing, after quite the buttoned up 1950s, he sprung out of the 60s dressed like this. So with androgyny is the word. I don't think there's anything androgynous about Ncuti Gatwa that we've seen in his pictures as the Doctor. I think he's masculine, a masculine male, and I don't think that's going to be changed by putting him in a sweater that is part of a ladies' wear range. I think it could potentially just be playful, and say if it looks cool and he feels great in it, then there's no harm in it. But I feel that I should mention it before other people do.
Well, I think it'd be disingenuous if we didn't mention it. We cover all angles here. There's no bias here. We're optimistic, but we are realistic.
Yeah, I know it's not 1972 anymore, and politically we're in a very, very different place. And as I say, it is, you know, are they attempting to align with something else through this choice? But you know, we're still a while away from seeing the actual episodes. And say it's a visual medium. He looks good. That's what matters. The jacket too, the coat, I'd say that's also ladies' wear.
Oh my God.
That's called the Nanushka wool coat. I would never have guessed this was ladies' wear. In fact, I saw an item of clothing not dissimilar to this in Primark only a couple of weeks ago. So again, it's whatever. It's in the eye of the beholder. But we've got the actual jacket here. It's called the Nanushka wool coat. It's available internationally, but some little imp has covered up the price, Sarah. So what do you think the price is for this jacket? What do you think they're asking for this coat? Sorry.
Oh, God. I'm thinking it's going to be pretty pricey, seeing as it says £20 discount with the code.
So where are you going to go then? Where you?
Oh, I'm going to go high. I'm going to say in the hundreds, £100.
Ooh, it is in the hundreds. Yeah, I'll put you out of your misery. It is the princely sum of £283.80 if you want to go for the old 15th Doctor's cosplay. You want an early start on all of that for Comic Con. Yeah. I know Ian Diaz, he'll be having this one on order. Yeah.
At that angle, it looks like one of Pertwee's capes.
It looks like an Inverness cape. Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. What else have we got? Yeah, so this has gone down, generally speaking, really, really well. Obviously, you can't please everybody all of the time, and I think that it's, to me, this is just like whenever the Eon premiere the title of a new Bond film or the new Bond song. Mm-hmm. Loads of people hate it, and then it grows on them. And I think that's what will happen with Ncuti's look as it evolves, whether orange is your thing or not. The press have been very kind, and they've been digging out. There's been some great puns. You know, I like a pun.
Yeah.
Been some good puns already. So we've got Ncuti keeps Doc in check. That was I think that was the Mirror. No, that looks like the Sun. The Sun went with that, and the Mirror went with the Hoocher. Oh dear, that's too far even for me. The Hoocher is bright. The Hoocher is orange.
I have to admit,
God.
I did use that. I did use future, but I did use that quote in my tweet.
That's agonising.
First thing that sprung to mind.
But yeah, this generally does seem to be pleasing people, and I'm really, really happy about it. I don't know what the next piece of the puzzle is, Sarah. The next, oh thank God, moment. Could it be when we find out who the writers are, or who is going to be? Who's going to be the composer? Because Sagan Akinola is gone. We were hoping for Murray Gold. Go on, Russell. We were hoping for Murray Gold back.
Please.
Maybe it is time for somebody new.
No, don't say that.
I was hoping for Murray Gold for the 60th anniversary stuff, but now I think that if for the Ncuti stuff, I think that probably should have a new sound.
Yeah,
but it's really difficult because I want the show to move on. I want it to feel and look evolved rather than going too far backwards. It's difficult.
I suppose if it is a complete clean slate, I think it is so difficult to not imagine Doctor Who without Murray Gold. It was, and I think it's a lot harder for kind of younger fans. You know, if Modern Who is all you've known, that transition is really difficult. I mean, it didn't help that, you know, Akinola's music was so forgettable, but I'd get used to it. But I do think for the 60th, to not have, you know, Donna's theme or some, you know, variation of that, and because the anniversary, it's all about nostalgia. You know, it's got to have. Well, I say it's got to have Tennant's theme. Well, you know, he is the 14th Doctor and not the 10th Doctor, but I would like to hear something familiar. I think that's you know, if there's going to be different music, obviously there's no character in as well, but to have that kind of just that Murray Gold flavour, I think that's very much in keeping.
Who's going to be on the writers credits as well? Could Russell be writing all 8? We're still not sure. But one thing is for certain: the 15th Doctor's era is begun. They're filming. Right. It's going to continue, I would imagine, for heaven knows, actually 8 episodes. So I would imagine they're going to be filming certainly into summer. One would think. Don't know. I mean, they're 60 minutes each. You know, we don't know. So there could be a lot left to see, and we'll keep looking out for it. I'm sure you will too. Let us know what you think of all of this in the comments section. You can reach out to us, get in touch with us through our Instagram and Twitter at Type40 Doctor Who. I say we know you've probably got other things going on too, but if you're anything like us, you know, Doctor Who, even during the Christmas and New Year period, does sort of bubble up a little bit. Can't help but thinking, I wonder what Ncuti Gatwa is doing right now. But they are about to, I think, they're about to stop filming again. So they're doing a couple of night shoots, and then they're going to break, obviously, for Christmas and New Year, and then we'll probably see them back doing whatever else, somewhere else, and the excitement will continue. There is fan art already, Sarah, and more to the point, within 24 hours, there was this one from Sci-Figure, custom action figures of the 15th Doctor and Ruby Sunday there in costume. That is impressive work to get that out so quickly.
And that looks really good, yeah. It looks very stern.
He looks lethal. He looks so pissed off. But, you know, who knows why? We'll find out.
I can't talk. It does give you a good idea of what the action figure would look like, and that does work. Like you were saying about, you know, the silhouette.
Nice bit of fun there from Syfy. Go and find them on Twitter. They're sharing stuff like that all the time. Let us know what you think of this look for the 15th Doctor, for everything that Ncuti Gatwa was wearing there in his ensemble so far. Where do you think they're going to go with it? Have they not gone far enough? Or is this too safe? Is this too boring? Or is it way too much plaid, too much orange, and the ladies' wear means that you are absolutely out? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments section and get in touch with us through our social media. Sarah, it's Christmas and New Year on the horizon. You've got everything done, got all the presents bought, everything wrapped and everything sorted?
No, I'm going to be last minute as usual. That's a lovely photo. I'm getting there. A few more days, and then Christmas Eve, I'm going to be watching Muppet Christmas Carol at the cinema because it's 30 years down. This is now where I start to feel old.
What a nice choice.
Looking forward to taking the kids to that. And and then I'll be starting my annual rewatch of the Doctor Who Christmas specials as well. I do that every year.
Marvellous. Has your Twitter poll finished yet?
It's ongoing. We're on to the knockout stages. One's just finished today. Yeah, I'm not taking it right seriously. Knockout stages. So Twice Upon a Time has gone through.
Yeah.
Husbands of River Song is out, which was really surprising for me because I thought River was quite popular, but she seems pretty Marmite on Twitter. And today, The End of Time Part 1 has been knocked out, and The Runaway Bride has gone through. So when this goes out, which is tomorrow, I believe there'll be a new poll.
Fantastic. Well, when it's complete, I think you're going to have to come back and we'll make another Type 40 extra, and you can tell us what the winner was. And you can tell us how you found.
Really excited and happy that people have just kind of run with it. And I don't know, maybe we all just love having a good vote.
I do think this is something Doctor Who fans in particular enjoy. Yeah. List making is obviously the perennial, the one that's been around the longest. But new media means that we find new ways of geeking out and comparing the things that we like and things that we don't, and bringing them into combat with one another on these social media platforms. It's all part of the fun. Yeah, cheers for that one, Elon. And that's it for this time. Let us know what you think of Ncuti's look of all this, and any more comments, leave them in the comments section. We're going to wrap it up now. Ncuti Gatwa is the 15th Doctor. He's wearing plaid and orange and a necklace and whatever else. I think I'll get used to it. Hopefully we'll get used to it. And we'll speak to you all again soon. Cheers for joining me for this one, Sarah.
Thank you.
I'll probably speak to you over the next few days. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.